As you get older, you're supposed to get more mature. Some people stay stupid. Some people stay in that same pace. Some people stay clout chasing. Some people stay focused on the smaller picture.
Welcome back to Oracles by MJ. I am she. It's a few articles, topics that I want to cover today. One, identifying relationship dependency traits. The other one is the importance of independence in a relationship, while the other is going into something more serious. Social media and academic anxieties are crushing our kids and forcing them towards suicide. Also, active children are more resilient, in addition to acquiring dependence and independence, a theoretical orientation. Verbatim. So the goal is to be in a healthy relationship and nobody be 100% dependent upon the other party. Now, this is Gregory L. Jantz, PhD, is the founder of the Center, A Place of Hope in Edmonds, Washington, a facility for the treatment of depression in the U.S. Dr. Jantz pioneered whole person care in the 1980s and researches eating disorders, depression, anxiety, technology addiction, and abuse. Now, identifying relationship dependency traits, written by him. Verbatim. No matter how hard we try, we are not able to fulfill all the expectations of others. Sometimes we're unable because of outside circumstances. Sometimes we're unable because we don't have the capacity. Other times the expectations are just too big or too difficult to fulfill. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm just giving you glimpses and little pieces, little excerpts. These relationships often collapse under the toxic pressure. Spouses and lovers leave. Children run away. Parents distance and siblings vanish. Friends evaporate and jobs disappear. Once again, the dependent person feels alone, abandoned, misunderstood, and unsafe. This is you. This is all you're doing. It's in your court. You have control. Little do you know. When the answer to this pattern is not rooted in self, but in another relationship, the search begins anew for an outside answer. Let's look at 5 additional relationship dependency traits that you may be experiencing. 1, you feel anxious or distressed when you are alone, or even when you think about being alone because you are afraid that you won't be able to handle what might happen. 2, you urgently seek another relationship as a source of care and support when a close relationship ends. 3, you often put the needs of others above your own needs, even if you are really hurting or resentful. 4, you consider the opinions and feelings of others as greater in value than your own. 5, you feel responsible for fulfilling the expectations of others and a failure if it does not happen. Identifying your dependent personality traits is the beginning of a solution to the pattern of relationship dependency. You are one step closer to healing and recovery. And good luck.
Fellas, there is nothing more important in your family. I know you think you know where I'm going with this, but you don't. There is nothing more important in your household, in your family, than your happiness. I know you thought that I was going to say your kid, your girl, your family, the bills being paid. None of that. Nothing is more important than your happiness. Even if you're married, even if you have children, if you by yourself, your mental health should be the number one priority for every single individual that is in that household, bar none. Bar none.
The importance of independence in a relationship, I found this on Aspire, something I found really, really fundamental. Why individuality and independence are important in relationships, verbatim. First, what does it really mean to be an independent individual? It means you know how to be your own person, whether you are single or in a relationship. It means while you make the effort to make your partner happy, you also ensure that you continue to do the things you enjoy that bring you happiness. Relationship etiquette expert Mara Opperman says it's very important to have independence in a relationship. Successful, healthy relationships allow for both people to form a bond that lets them not only grow together but also grow independently as people. It's essential to have your own sense of autonomy while feeling you can depend on each other. Also, if you give up on your independence and abandon the things that used to make you happy, it will be reflected in your relationship. Individuality has a lot to do with learning, exploring, and experiencing boundaries for yourself. Individuality teaches us how to love ourselves more. Independence supports a couple with recognizing who they are outside of the marriage or relationship. Functional marriages and relationships require a balance. There should be a balance between togetherness, individuality, and independence. It's so easy to get in a relationship and get comfortable, but let me tell you, you must continue to develop yourself. You know why? Because there will always be better, but why shall I stay with you? Get left. Continuing the article I read yesterday, well, a part of it, an excerpt, mutual support builds independence in relationships. Verbatim. Independent people are strong people, and strong people can be counted on when it matters most. When you are both strong individuals, you can lend that support when the other needs it easily. Strong people often fall weak in their relationships. It is simply a part of human nature. There needs to be a mutual support among partners. Mutual support allows for couples to never leave one another behind. In other words, when I am down, I can depend on you to support me with building me up. I like to call it no spouse left behind. This means in a relationship, regardless of the circumstances, we make it a goal to support one another. When this occurs, there can be an assurance that each spouse will come in the clutch and help as needed. How can one be strong and the other is weak? As said before, this is why when Tiana and Iman announced their separation, I said, well, it had to be because he stopped playing basketball. I mean, it's among other things that we don't even know about. But as a man, there should be no woman, no individual that interferes with you and the bag and the goal and what you started out doing, your passion, your love. Now, we can say, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. I've grown past that. But this is what you've been doing, and this is how you made your debut. So how can you just love and then stop? I know what that feels like as a woman. As a woman, I know what it feels like to love something and then meet a man and then you kind of put that on a back burner. Men do the same thing. So I guarantee you, if he don't resume playing ball, you should have never stopped, baby boy. Maybe she would have stayed. This is a part of the reason why women think they intimidate men. Because am I scaring you to the point that you don't want to do what you love anymore? What I do can't be that powerful.
If it's anything outside of his happiness, you outside of your purpose. If it's because he is the most important asset. Listen, if you're looking at marriage as a business or as love, there is no more important asset than the man that is the head of your household. If the king dies on any chessboard, the game is over. If the king dies on any chessboard, the game is over. So it's not about you. It's not about you. And do you know that once you put more into that man, you get more out of it because you're the recipient of his greatness. You're the one that benefits as a result of what it is that he's doing great. So why would you not honor your husband? Why would you not take care of? Why would you not practically worship the ground that he walks on and ensure that he is protected in every way, shape, and form as far as you leaning into him based off of your femininity? Because when he's happy, everybody benefits.
Acquire independence and independence, a theoretical orientation, verbatim. A, problem. Everyone's personality develops in a social world, and every aspect of personality reflects one's relationships and experiences with others. A central aspect of the process of becoming socialized is developing needs, perceptions, and response patterns having to do with dependence on others or with independence. Currently, a major research program on the development of independence in preschool children is underway at the Fels Research Institute. This paper presents the general theoretical orientation basic to the research program. Its purposes are to define certain forms of dependence, independence, and to indicate how they may be learned. Without correction, this results in needy grown-ass individuals, men and women needing and acting like they can't do for themselves. Some shit you can do alone. Some shit you can do alone. And some things it'll be nice if you asked for assistance just to show what? Humanity? Most things we can do alone if we need it done. But why not credit someone for helping you? Selfish, narkish. Forms of dependence and independence, verbatim. A person is dependent on others to the extent that he has needs, which require that others respond in particular ways if these needs are to be satisfied. A person is independent of others to the extent that he can satisfy his needs without requiring that others respond to him in particular ways. One way of depending on others is instrumental dependence, which is present when a person seeks help in reaching goals. Thus, an infant depends on others for help in satisfying hunger and other bodily needs. When a child seeks help, as in getting food, help is the sub-goal in relation to the end goal of food. With emotional dependence, the responses of others are the end goals rather than means of reaching them. Thus, the need for affection is an emotional dependence need, which is satisfied by others' affectionate responses. So much so that acts of service love language was created so you can identify how you want to be treated, so you can feel good. Don't nobody want to do anything for you that you can't do for yourself, so don't be dependent on others. Allow others to help you. You don't need them to help you. Something I'm going to touch on quick, and understandably so, social media and academic anxieties are crushing our kids. Without significant adjustments in how we raise the next generation, the mental health crisis among children will get worse. I mean, this is common sense. Not so common. The number of children struggling with anxiety and depression has been on the rise, coinciding with an increase in self-harm among young people. Data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows suicides among children 10 to 18 years old increased by more than 50% between 2001 and 2020. A separate CDC report based on Poison Control Center data shows the rate of suspected suicide attempts by self-poisoning among kids ages 10 to 12 rose 73% from 2019 to 2021. For 13 to 15-year-olds, the rate of such attempts increased by nearly 50%, you guys. Many children feeling isolated and lonely, and this is partly due to the pandemic COVID-19, will retreat to their online world. They turn to social media for attention and rate themselves based on likes and other digital barometers of social success. Girls are especially vulnerable to staring endlessly at doctored photos and obsessing over why they don't look the same. This is where the implementation of confidence and telling your children that they are enough while in the home is required. Things like this will always happen as far as people online and flaunting and showing what they have, whether they have it or not. Well, guess what? The have-nots aren't as strong. Well, all of them aren't as strong, especially our youth. And it's so easy to just give your child a phone and let them just go and give you peace. But what would you rather? that instant gratification, or providing them the assurance that we all need in any relationship, whether it's a love relationship or whatever. We all need assurance. That's that same assurance that would help them in the future, in the near future, when they may be on social media and comparing themselves. Guess what? Mommy assured them, you are enough. You are enough. Enough. You're enough. Without instilling this self-assurance in your children and just leaving them with their devices and leaving it up to them to compare themselves to the people that we see, because we naturally do so, and for them to automatically be strong and say, no, I don't want that, I don't need that, let them build that on their own. No, it's more easy at that stage for them to say, I don't want to be here anymore. So without the assurance from mom and dad, just can go abyss. It can go abyss. Science Daily released an article, Active Children Are More Resilient. And you would think this is common sense, but no, it doesn't apply to everybody. September 5th, 2023. The school year has hardly begun and the first exams are already approaching. According to findings by researchers from the University of Basel, school children cope better with the stress if they get plenty of daily exercise. Researchers tested the children's physical stress reaction via the concentration of the stress hormone cortisol in their saliva and found less cortisol in active children. The results showed that the participants who got more than an hour of exercise per day, as the World Health Organization recommends, did in fact produce less cortisol in the stress task than the children who were less active. Regularly active children seem to have a reduced psychological stress reaction in general. When children regularly run, swim, climb, etc., the brain learns to associate a rise in cortisol with something positive. The body's reaction always has a cognitive component as well. This positive association helps to prevent the concentration of cortisol from rising to too high a level in exam situations as well. This too is common sense. Well, not for everyone. Because if you're sitting in the house and your cortisol levels are rising, that means you're stressed and more stressed. And guess what that turns into? Guess what that can turn into? It can turn into depression. It can turn into anxiety. It can turn into schizophrenia later on in a man's life. Why? Because he isn't being as expressive as maybe the woman is. And if she isn't expressing as she may need to, that can turn into depression and anxiety because she hasn't gotten it all out.
Oh man, you thought it was just you being quiet. You thought it was just you being quiet. Part of his piece is the fact that he ain't got to worry about a Sasquatch sitting on top of him when y'all get ready to do something in the bedroom. Part of his piece is that ugly bonnet and that stupid wardrobe that you got on every single day, looking like a piece of trash. You go outside and you get a world the best of you. You come home and you give him the rest of you. How does that work? You look like a sack of potatoes every single day. You put no effort into what it is that he got to look at every single day, and you keep talking about his peace. That's not peaceful. That's war. I feel like I'm about to go in the trenches.
For I understand the role of a man, and it's sexy. A real man.
Go ahead, unpack that. What's the role of a man?
First of all, it's leadership. And when a man when he has the fruit of leadership successfully over his whole life, do you know how attractive that is? Even if he is a man that's not available to you, even if he's a man that is not compatible for you, to watch a man lead his life well, baby, that's encouraging. It's sexy. It's honorable. I love to see it. And there is something about watching a man who has allowed God to grow his confidence and grow the fruit of his life. And you can see him thinking. And if he don't know what to think, baby, for that man to take that thing in the word and in prayer, woo! Child.
This goes for people in general. No one feels comfortable or secure in any situation when they don't feel like they have a quality leader. And that's most women. Let's be real, man. Like, if you're not a visionary, if you're not a man that has a plan for your life, dog, your girl may stick with you. She might stay with you. But does she really respect you? Does she really value what you have and what you can bring? She won't believe anything you say, especially if you're the type of dude that bounce from idea to idea. You want to do this, that, and the third, man. If you can't stick to a plan and formulate it and execute, she ain't gonna never respect you, bro. And it ain't even just about being having a lot of money and stuff like that. Can you put us in a better place than we was yesterday? A lot of women ain't gonna admit that, but that's the truth, bro. You gotta be a leader, bro. And if you not, go pick up on leadership skills, man. Go read books like by John Maxwell. Go read 48 Laws of Power, things like that. That's gonna instill confidence in you, because competence is going to be the reason why you feel confident. And there's a lot of problem, and a big problem amongst a lot of young men is that they don't have no confidence because they're not competent in anything other than playing 2K and Madden. So, man, go work on your life skills, bro. Straight up, man.